Hey there, guys. It's Chargin Ryuka here. I just got asked a big question. And I'm actually getting ready to record another episode of trying of Ark at some point here. But the question I saw was the biggest red flags for a girl. The biggest red flags in any situation. There's a long list. But let's just say if you put a hell of a lot of time, you put a hell of a lot of effort. You're the guy, okay? You're the guy. You put a hell of a lot of effort, and she's take. She never gives anything in return. She doesn't put out any effort. She won't, get off her butt and get a job. She won't help with anything. Laziness, being untrustworthy, not being loyal, communication. Those are some of the biggest ones. But the other thing that you need to look out for is if you go out of your way to prepare a big old romantic meal. And I guess it would also go for both sides of the equation, full circle for your partner. Not just, strictly for women. Even though this question pertains only for women. From a guy's perspective. Because that's a tough question to answer with how the world is today. How you can get canceled just by with a question like that, because everybody's going to be totally against you. If you go out of your way to make and prepare a big old meal, you get like, especially if it's for Valentine's Day, for gifts, all this and that, all the stuff. You do everything right to a T. You make sure everything's perfect. You cook the meal like she would like it. You put it out in front of her, and all she does is stare at it. She says, I don't want that. And she's constantly on her phone. Doesn't give you any sort of attention whatsoever. But as soon as you go to do something, she's like right there wanting to be a part of it, wanting to be the center of attention. If she shows you that she's very ungrateful for all the work that you do and all the effort that you put in, not only to build that relationship, she isn't worth it. People misunderstand what it means to build a bond, what it means to build a relationship all the way to marriage. And the thing is, once you tie the knot, that doesn't mean, oh, okay, I don't have to put out any effort. Fuck no. When you tie the knot, you have to continue putting out effort. It doesn't end. It keeps going. It goes full circle. There's never one side or the other when it comes to that. And that's what a lot of people just don't understand. A lot of people just don't understand, especially now how the world is today. You don't understand. When she cries for attention, that's another red flag. If you and someone else and a girl are in a call, and it's been a while since you've had you sat into a call. I mean, it's been a while since you've talked to these guys, and you're sitting there, you're chatting, one of them's playing a game. Let's say you're in Discord, like sharing that. And all of a sudden, one of them decides, hey, I'm going to go somewhere. I'll be right back. Get a drink, go bathroom, whatever. As soon as you ask, how you doing, how you been, I mean, it's been a while since we last talked, and all of a sudden she starts tearing up. And then she tells you a big old spiel, expecting you to believe her 110%, without question. That in itself is a red flag. If you've only known this person a couple of years, and the most of the time that you've been in any sort of interaction would be DMs or in a call, you never met this person in person, and you've never been around them in person, you don't know who they truly are. See, there used to be someone I know who literally believed this one chick without a shadow of a doubt, and believed that she was 100% innocent in anything that had happened 3 years ago. She wasn't. She made a choice to be a part of it. She chose to do it. And instead of doing a mature thing to do, she used cancel culture and Me Too movement and played on this innocence. Because that's another thing. When a woman plays innocence, like, she'll do anything. She could go to as far as to get away with murder. That level, she ain't worth it. She ain't worth calling a friend. She sure as hell ain't considered calling an acquaintance, a girlfriend, or even a wife. She's not worth it whatsoever. Now, there's a lot of things that could change that if there was legitimate proof to that, but there was no legitimate proof. And the thing is, when someone does something like that, I ain't saying it just happens to the women at all, just like because it happens a lot to the women, but when a woman decides to do shit like that, and it's been around the world where innocent people who are trying to do a good deed, or shit like this, where two people make a choice, they have consent, they have an email or a DM or a message or a phone call saying, hey, we give consent to each other to do this thing, and it's just going to be between us. That in itself was a really, really tough question to answer, because for me, myself, I don't care if a woman drinks. I won't be able to tolerate if they smoke, do drugs or anything like that. I wouldn't be able to tolerate that. That's a turn off for me. And they got to be able to work. The only thing that would change that is if we were together long enough to the point where things worked out and we had kids. That'd be different. I'd be like, okay, I ain't gonna ask you to go out and work. But the main thing for me is loyalty, communication, effort. Those are the three main things, and also smoking. Can't tolerate that. Can't. And there's a lot of people who, like, I'm even including vaping on that. That in itself to me is a turnoff. I won't tolerate that. And yet there's a lot of women around here, especially where I live, who do that. And it's basically everywhere. I mean, if you choose what you choose to do, the thing is, don't force it on me. That's a really tough question. It's like I'm still trying to think in my head how else best to answer that question. And yet also trying to be honest all at the same time. Knowing full well when this gets out, people are legitimately going to be hating on it. Especially the people who are still stalking me. And they think I don't know that they're stalking me, and I know they're stalking me. They still hate me after 3 years. They hate me that much. All because I did what needed to be done. And that's funny. But thing is, to build a relationship with someone, you gotta be, trust is earned. It's not given. You can't give someone the benefit of the doubt because they got a pretty face. Or they got a fantastic smile. Just because of that, looks alone, does not mean that they're innocent. Or they act shy. They don't understand. Or anything like that. Or they never experienced dating. Or anything of the sort. And yet they want to sit there and act like everybody else, like they know what the hell they're doing, when they don't. And in all actuality, that person, that individual is still a kid. And was never pushed to legitimately grow up by their parents. Because they're still acting like a kid in their 20s, expecting to be given everything, to be the center of attention 200% all the time. It has to be about them. You don't want to be with someone who's like that. The person who caused all that drama 3 years ago was exactly that kind of person. They would flip out, they would get mad, because they were no longer the center of attention. Man, that's a really tough question. I'm hoping I answered it the best I could. I mean, in the end, as the world is today, it's going to come back and bite me, because the conversation that I had with somebody who I basically went to school with his brother at one point. I really didn't care at all about his brother. His brother could go suck a dick. But he was probably the only one that I actually got along with. I didn't care for his brother. I didn't really care for anyone else, really. Yeah. He always, he was, the thing is, psycho. The psycho women. I mean, I dated a girl that seemed alright at first, but she was out of her mind. And I'm not joking about the fact that, because she had gotten so attached to me She didn't want to let me go, even though she had cheated on me several times. And it was all because she was around with her friend who was always getting laid, pretty much. She had I wasn't joking about the fact that she attempted to kill me twice because I wouldn't give her a kid. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, don't. Another thing, too, is in relation to that, if you ever meet somebody and they pull the, well, my parents or my grandpa, he really don't have any grandkids to really spoil, and he doesn't have much time left, would you mind doing the deed with me and possibly trying to get me pregnant? That's a trap. You don't want that either. Because in relation to that, this is something that I also know. I've know people who went through this, especially really close people, where they got talked into doing this thing, and as soon as 9 months flown by, kid was born, all of a sudden the father of that kid was no longer wanted, was verbally abused, was treated like garbage, had to go through hell, go to court, to take the mother, her mom, to go to court just to have rights to see his own son. And for that boy to grow up being forcibly controlled by his mom, with no dad around, always wondering why dad ain't around. Made to think that the father didn't care about him at all, which was totally bullshit. Because the father did everything he could possibly and legally could do to try and be there for him. It's a really tough pill to swallow. It's a really tough pill to swallow. And only for that very same kid to grow up hating his dad for not being there. Being told lies all his life. I guess it would also be the same thing if it ended up being a girl. Because I know someone else pretty much went through the same thing. But he is no longer able to see his daughter as often as he wants anymore. And the thing is, people make bad choices. I made bad choices when I was a teenager. When it came to women, to dating, and I wish I never did it. That's why I said that as one of my regrets. That's one of my regrets. I shouldn't have made those choices. I never should have tried to go out with someone who at the time I thought was totally sane, and they weren't. Basically, make sure that the person you choose is sane. Make sure that person is interested. Make sure that person actually earns your trust. earns your respect, earns your loyalty. Never give them the benefit of the doubt, because that's where they trap you. That's where they torture you. That's where they make you suffer. And the thing is, I've been through enough. I mean, these scars I have, they're nothing to the scar that's right here. I'm one of those guys who've been through so much that I'm completely numb here. I don't feel anything anymore. I've always had a high pain tolerance, but I'm completely numb to everything. And that literally means everything. For me to even react, to even have a mental breakdown, I'd have to be really, really low. Really depressed. For it to legitimately hit me. To where I legitimately have to go talk to somebody who's willing to listen. And so you don't end up like me, who's completely numb. Make sure you make the right choices. Sometimes it's better off trying to be friends. Don't exactly be a nice guy, but yet still be the guy who makes the right choices. Be mature about it. I get this also goes for the women as well. Be the person that makes the right choices. Make sure that you can trust them. Make sure that they would put out the effort to make things work. And if they don't put out the effort, they don't try, then they ain't worth it. And all they do is get you into trouble and make things a living hell. They ain't worth it. It's like I said, if things were different and I met the right person and we were still together and things worked out, got married and had kids, I would give all of this up. Because family is more important than YouTube. Family is more important than Twitch. Family is always more important. Like I said, it's a really tough question to really answer without people hating on you. And that I was also being really real in this episode, which is very hard for other people to do, especially in this world as today. And none of it was a joke. Just make the right choices. There's a long list of red flags when it comes to women. And a lot of times, there's those kind of women who don't even see their own red flags. And they are too ignorant, too blind to see it. Even when people, especially other women, point it out. And the same thing goes for guys. Sometimes, someone literally has to hit a guy and say, hey, you fucked up. For the guy to get the point. And when it comes to women, you really have to, emotionally level with them. In some sort of way. You don't have to physically hurt them. It's being emotionally level with them. To be straight up and honest is like, hey, you legitimately fucked up. You have no idea what you've done. Point out, if you needed something, I was there. Because that's one of the things, too, that I've seen, and that's been true throughout this whole entire world. This whole entire thing about life. If you go out of your way for this person, You're always there when when they need you. If they need a tire changed, you were there. If they needed a ride, you were there. You're having a mental breakdown, you were there. If they needed somebody to get over their ex, you were there. But yet, not once were they ever there for you when you needed them. That person right there, that you were putting all that effort towards, they ain't worth it. They'll never realize until things get so bad that they fucked up. I hope that answers your question. To whoever answered that, who asked that. If you would like to ask me any more questions, to get to know me better or anything like that, follow me on Twitter, because I'll every now and then, once or twice a week, I'll post the NGL link to where you can ask me questions, send me messages and stuff like that, and I'll do my best to answer them the best I can. Because unlike the rest of this world, I'm not gonna bullshit you. I gotta go raise some hell in another recording that probably won't be uploaded on time because of this. So, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.